Bullard,
Here.
Thorsland, Vanich Theronot,
Here.
Wiggs,
Here.
Wilson,
Here.
Arez,
Here.
Cagle, Carter, Cowart, Crane,
Here.
Esri,
Here.
Farney,
Here.
Fava,
Here.
Furtado, Hanauer Friedman,
Here.
Lakshin,
Here.
Pugh,
Present.
Rodriguez,
Here.
Rogers,
Present.
Settles,
Present.
Locke.
Here. I would entertain a motion to approve tonight's agenda. Sexton, second by Vanich Theronot. Mr. Esri.
I do have a correction that needs to be made. 8-2B, reappointing Alan Nudo, Republican. It reads the Fountainhead Drainage District. That should be Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District. On the agenda itself, I believe the actual resolution is correct. It's just that the agenda has it wrong.
Thank you for catching that. I see a second by Sollard. Any discussion of the motion to amend? All in favor of amending the agenda? Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Any discussion of the agenda as amended? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we have an agenda. Approval of the minutes for the November 10th, 2025 regular meeting. Is there a motion? Vanich Theronot, second by Rogers. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And minutes pass. Public input. I only have one slip before I call you forward. If anyone else out there would like to address as a member of the public, please feel free to fill out a slip and pass it forward. Jason Benda, come on down.
Jason Benda, 1529 Lincolnshire Drive. I know where I live, really, I do. I remain an county employee in the facilities department. There are two items on tonight's agenda that I wish to give some input on. When I first moved to the city of Champaign, I was somewhat dismayed at the fact that my polling place, reaching my polling place required me to cross an expressway. I was not a fan of that. And my polling place remained there in the time that I lived there. As I look at the list of polling places that's submitted on page 27 of the agenda packet, I noticed that that polling place is no longer listed. Unfortunately, as most of us know, that particular polling place suffered a fire recently and had substantial damage done to it. So I'm not terribly surprised that it's not listed as a polling place, and I'm hopeful that they can resume being a polling place at some time later. But it makes me even more pleased than I have previously been about the way that we conduct elections here in Champaign County. Specifically that we as voters in Champaign County do not have to any longer be bound to a single polling location. It's not just that those of us who may not be comfortable voting in a church or a library or even in this building don't get forced to do that simply because of where we live. It occurs to me that should unforeseen circumstances happen that require closure of a polling place, such as this, whether it be a natural act or an act of malice against one of our buildings, that this does not prevent people from being able to vote because we can go to another place to do our voting. And I very much appreciate that system that has been put in place by the incumbent clerk. The other piece I want to look at is this public questions. I appreciate the fact that this committee, specifically the finance division of this committee, looks to address a public question to the, or three public questions, in fact, to the electors here in Champaign County to decide how we should proceed with our budgetary quandaries that are coming soon. I look forward to these questions, and I'm hopeful that the public will not give us contradictory answers, such as voting no on everything. Say, no tax increases, and no cuts to services. Well, that's not going to work. And any members of the public who are thinking of doing that, listening, please think about that some more. I anticipate that the results of these questions in March will influence what the board might ask of the voters in November. Certainly, if the mood of the electorate seems to be that they would accept an increase in sales tax, particularly as that would not just affect the electorate, but would also affect people coming in from outside the county who spend money here, that the board might consider, hey, let's put a sales tax increase question on the ballot in November. One other thing that I think the board should consider for November that I've heard the board discuss on both sides of this room is the idea that maybe it's time to ask the public if home rule should be an option for this county. I honestly don't know if I would support that, but I do support it being on the ballot. I do support the people being asked that question. The board has, over the last 10 years, not been shy about asking the public for input on how we have governed ourselves. We asked about a county executive. We asked about elimination of the auditor. We asked about elimination of the recorder. Some of those succeeded, some of them didn't. But this board has had this idea that we can go before the public and ask these questions about how the public wants this board and the rest of county government to operate. And I encourage, as the board looks at the results of these questions and looks at the input from the county electorate at large, that they think about asking big questions of the voters and let the voters make those decisions. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Benda. I have no more slips for public input, so we move on to board member communications. Are there communications from the board? Ms. Lakshan.
Thank you. I just wanted to note that today is the 3rd anniversary of the passing of Scott Bennett. As we sit here in the Bennett Administrative Center named after him, I wanted to read a few words from the plaque out in the lobby that was dedicated in his honor. Senator Bennett's legacy is defined by his humility, passion, and tireless dedication. Scott Bennett brought respect, honor, and integrity to the people of Champaign County with his many years of public service. This building is named in his honor to commemorate his work and to encourage all of us to help our friends and neighbors as Scott would have. I encourage you to take some time this week to help some of your friends and neighbors in his honor. Thank you.
Further communications? Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Number one, a special shout out to the American Legion Post 559 for their 18th annual Pearl Harbor Day Remembrance, which occurred on Sunday. They put together a wonderful program. They've done this for 18 plus years, right? And I understand this year is the last time that they'll do the program. And just enjoyed attending, and I think a big takeaway for me was always expect the unexpected. Pearl Harbor Day, the United States did not really believe that the Japanese would travel 3,500 miles to attack Pearl Harbor. They didn't think they were capable to do it, but they did. And the Japanese didn't believe that the United States would actually have the courage and tenacity to go to war with Japan and go back and island hop all the island hops and then win the war, but we did. And national security is so crucially important, and sometimes we just don't realize things could happen. No one realized that someone would take some jets and collide it in the Twin Towers, but that happened. And it's important for us to always be vigilant and expect the unexpected. Out-of-box thinking is really important. And then second is Sunday, starting on December 14th and 8 days later ending on December 22nd, is a very important holiday. It's the Jewish holiday of Hanukkah, celebrating the Festival of Lights. And if you have a Jewish tradition or not, it'd be interesting just to figure out exactly what that celebration is all about. And that's the end of my comments.
Further board member communications? Well, I have one. I'm going to use Jeff's word. I have a shout out for our fellow board member, Mr. Crane, who saved a dog this morning along Illinois 47. Sorry, I heard about it and I have to thank you. We appreciate you finding this dog and returning it home. Thank you. Moving on, with no further board communications, we move on to Justice and Social Services. Chair Rogers.
Thank you, Chair Locke. The monthly reports can be found on the website. We have the Emergency Management Agency monthly report for November, the Probation and Court Services report for October of 2025, the Public Defender monthly report for November of 2025, and the Animal Control reports for August, September, and October of 2025. Next, I'll move for approval of an agreement between the County of Champaign and Street College for reentry services. Moved by Locke, second by Lockshin. Oh, sorry, I didn't see them. Okay. Any discussion? I believe Shannon's here with some people from Street College as well. If you guys want to come up in case people have questions. Okay, go JJ.
So I guess I have several questions. First off, just want to go on record. I work at JDC. I work for the Regional Office of Education, so I do not have a conflict here. I see what Street College does. I see the good it does for our students and everything like that. I also am a county board member, and I have a responsibility to ask questions about finances. So I want to make that very clear. I'm supportive of this, but I have questions. I know that this money originally was earmarked for Rosecrans. They got a $100,000 grant every year. And Rosecrans was, they said middle of the year last year, we can't do this anymore. Here's the rest of your money back, basically. And Street College stepped in at a moment when we needed something. And so we gave them the remaining funds on that grant for the rest of the year. Looking back at our meeting minutes, things like that, we did not really get real solid details about what that money was going to be actually used for, actual expenses. We were in a bad spot. We needed to do something. Here we are now in December looking for the next year, and quite honestly, the resolution and Ms. Sider's memo tells us about JDC, but in talking to Ms. Siders, I understand Street College also does things outside of JDC. That's not mentioned at all in the resolution. So we're saying all of this $100,000 has to go to JDC if we follow that resolution. We don't have any information about this program in front of us tonight. I asked Shannon as well, we don't know where the $100,000 number came from other than that's what Rosecrans got. And knowing, since I am loosely affiliated with things at JDC, I have to ask, $100,000 seems like a lot for this program. 4 hours a week is basically what the program is in the facility. The 2 teachers that work there full time, their salaries don't add up to that. So I have real questions about, is $100,000 the right number, or are we just saying that's what we gave Rosecrans, we don't want to do homework, here's your $100,000. So I'm uncomfortable voting for this right now because I don't know enough about it. Even though I see what they're doing and everything, it's $100,000, and we have to make sure we're doing our due diligence. So I'm hoping we can get some of those answers tonight, even if we have to delay this. I think we owe it to ourselves to make sure we've got all the information. Thank you.
Do either of you guys want to try to address any of Mr. Farney's questions? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So first, this is Jay Walker, one of the instructors and faculty, and I'm Lori Gold Patterson, the CEO of Street College, and I appreciate those questions very much, actually. So I can answer it in lots of different ways, but I want to get to the bottom of my answer, which is we, with other grants, submit budgets, we submit quarterly reports, we keep all of the data about all of our expenses, all of the time, all of the outcomes. We've asked a number of times, do you all want that? And we've asked that through Ms. Siders, and that hasn't been needed. But we, at any point, can provide that. So we function under really strict state grants, and so we have all that information if you need that from us. So originally, the budget was actually, and I'm not sure if Rosecrance's budget was $122,000, but for this past year, it was $11,000 a month. And the work that we've done under that is that we do, and you may need to make a change if it's indicating this, that it's just JDC, because we are doing your reentry with those students as well, those scholars, as we call them. So there's a significant amount of effort that is going into reentry, both interacting with the probation officers as well as really specific teaching to the interests of those that have been released, having them come into the space on a regular basis. So a real rough estimate, we are programming, because we have typically 4 to 5 instructors who are doing different parts of the engagement at JDC. That's about 64 hours a month that we're doing inside the facility. The planning for that, because this is a really different engagement, right? So there are often escalations that are going on in the facility, as you know, and we do a lot of planning. The team gets together and talks about each one of the scholars that are there, what interaction happened or didn't happen, what our approach is going to be. We've brought in other community experts that meet with us to handle particular ways in which, help us understand ways in which to engage when things are escalated, how to make sure that this is a place that the scholars work hard to make sure they're at and they don't miss out on it. So there's a lot of strategic things going on, and that's about 48 hours a month that we're doing of that. And then the reentry, it's been a slower thing the past probably 6 months, maybe 5 scholars that we've been engaging with. Jay can speak to that's been increasing pretty significantly over just the recent weeks. And we don't know if it's kind of word of mouth that's happening or our outreach, really strong outreach to the scholars to make sure they come and meet with us. That's about 32 hours. It's been about 32 hours. It looks like that's going to be growing pretty significantly. In addition to that, we've purchased equipment that we bring in. We just went through a purchase of some new audio equipment, some computers, some specific software and microphones to meet the specific interests of those scholars. So it is a broader program than it looks, but we can absolutely provide a detail of that at any point that you want.
Emily?
So my questions are a little, I guess, fresh about this. Typically I would save this for caucus, but for whatever reason that wasn't available for whatever reason. A question that I have, and we have the benefit of Lynn Canfield here. My questions about this really stem from my work on the mental health board. I'm not going to call you to the front, don't worry about it. But I mean, I think that for this particular area of funding, we need a battery of questions. We need in this modeled after possibly what we do at the mental health board, a way to figure out what are our targets, how do we want to fund this, what are the goals that we want to reach, and diversifying funds. I think that's also important. But again, I think taking a look at some of the survey work that we do at the mental health, I say we, like I am personally responsible, but I think it's a great model, and I think we can get more sophisticated in how we fund this category. I think it's a great program, and I'm fully in support of it. I think this, as a board though, I think this is an area we could use some nuance.
Any other discussion? Go ahead, Jennifer.
So as the person who was the representative to reentry when it was under Rosecrance, some of the problems that we had that I'm not seeing in this program at this point. What we had was post-Safety Act, we weren't having people come released from the jail into a community where they were re-entering. If you were in jail awaiting trial and you're found guilty, chances are, if you've been locked up all of this time, you're going to prison. You're not getting a community sentence. Or if you're found not guilty, well, you're not re-entering, so you are not in re-entry. We were having difficulty recruiting any people that have recently been released from DOC. The numbers that we were getting from Rosecrance were a total of like 5 people under service per month, maybe 1 new one every 3 months. We weren't helping people. They were, the ones that came, they were getting help getting their driver's license, but now you can get that through the Department of Corrections. There's ways. So it was made redundant for adults. And I agree with Ms. Rodriguez, reaching a wider net, but keeping in mind that we want to use the same number of funds, and it was $100,000 per year. I think it was because we had some delay that you got a little bit more per month. It was a $100,000 grant for years to Rosecrance. We don't want to diversify a broad net and have it shallow. We have a chance to do really good things by inspiring kids before they make adult consequence style decisions. By, you've messed up, you're here, you're in reentry. We have a chance to inspire them. I'm supportive of this. Also, I agree with Mr. Farney that maybe what the resolution before us was rushed. Maybe it was, we could flesh it out and say it's not just for services in JDC. We're funding the program for reentry. Maybe get some specific metrics in there. It's possible that if we held this off and didn't vote on it tonight and held it off even just to the full board, we might have those numbers, or we could table it to next month. I would be supportive of either of those, but those are all of it. I'm very supportive. As the person who very sadly made the decision to kill the Rosecrance contract, I am blown away by the positives I've heard about this program. So, but we want to do it the right way.
Ally?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what's been said, and I think we have a real opportunity for impact here with the youngest members of our community. Would you be able, if we just pushed the vote on this until next Thursday, would you be able to give us just like a really clear budget breakdown of where the funds are going, and maybe that breakdown between the reentry piece and what's going on in JDC?
Absolutely, and just let us know who to submit that to. I wanted Shannon to answer the question, just to address about the mental health approach. If you could.
We've had the opportunity to work with a social worker. His name is Charles Jarrell Young from the Envisage Counseling. So we do invite him to attend the JDC sessions with us because we are aware that there may be some things that can prevent the student or scholar from working with us, right? There may have had some escalation throughout the day, or maybe there are some groups that can't be together. So he is also a hip hop artist, and a lot of his sessions deal with music therapy. And so he's found a way to help us reach the scholars where they're at and still be authentic and true to ourselves, but really own in on that, maybe not so much a problem area, but maybe like an area of growth for those scholars that we are not trained to handle.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. First of all, Mr. Walker, I've always enjoyed your creativity. It's fantastic. I guess my challenge is not about the need for the program or the desire for the program or even the benefits of the program. My question is really related to budget. And we have an approved budget with a structural deficit. Is there a proposed offset for the $100,000 from someone else's department to fund this? Does it come out of, or I'm wrong, you're saying it's already in the budget?
It's already allocated.
Under what?
Funds. Well, what was allocated to Rosecrance.
Here.
I believe so, yes. It needs to be spent on reentry programming, right?
It's under the public safety sales tax. There's a certain, when the public voted to institute that years ago, a certain portion has to be spent towards reentry in some way or shape, one way, shape, or form.
So then it's more articulating what the $66,000 did this year and how it was used, and how that compares to $100,000 that is forecasted for the next year, and the breakout, so that we could actually see it. That would, I believe, would be beneficial.
Okay. So I'm hearing that people want to kind of table this to either next week, is that enough time? Does someone want to make that motion? Do we need to make a motion? Okay, go ahead.
I move to table this to the full board next Thursday, December 18th.
Okay. All in favor? Or any discussion, sorry. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Thank you. I do not have any other business or chair's report, and I don't have any items to be placed on the consent agenda. Back to you.
Moving on to policy, personnel, and appointments. Chair Vanish Thierenot.
Thank you, Chair Locke. The monthly HR report for November is available online. We have several appointments. I'm going to ask for a omnibus for 2A and B for the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District. I have a motion from Sullard. Is there a second? I can't see your name. Crane, thank you. Second from Crane. We have reappointing Mark Brown to the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District, term 1/1/2026 to 12/31/2030, and Alan Nudo to the Champaign-Urbana Mass Transit District, 1/1/2026 to 12/31/2030. Discussion. Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, A and B both pass. We have reappointing Molly McLay to the Mental Health Board, term 1/1/2026, 12/31/2029. Can I have a motion? Ms. Rodriguez, a second. You guys want to fight over? Mr. Fernie. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Appointing Diana Husby-Gordon to the Developmental Disabilities Board, term ending 6/30/2028. Can I get a motion? Ms. Lokshin. Second, Ms. Hanauer-Friedman. Any discussion? Go for it.
I just noticed it doesn't have a beginning date on here. Do we need to add that in? And the same would go for the next one as well.
That's because the term is current right now, and so as soon as they're appointed,
Okay.
they take office.
Perfect.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Alrighty, motion passes. Appointment for Evan Alvarez to the Rural Transit Advisory Group, term ending 12/31/2026, and this is being appointed to a current appointment. Is that a motion or? Okay, motion by Esri, second by Sullard. Any discussion? Mr. Esri?
Being on the RTAG board for the county board representative, if you read it, Evan was the manager there for a while, and he knows it as well as anybody. I think he'd be an excellent person. I mean, I have nothing bad from his term when he was manager there to say about it, so he'd be excellent as far as I'm concerned.
That's good to hear. Anyone else? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Our currently vacant appointments, full list and information is available on the county's website. Applications for open appointments are on pages 22 and 24. We have some monthly fee reports for November 2025 from the county clerk, and the establishing of places of election for Champaign County for the 2026 general primary election is on 26 and 28 in your packets. I have a motion from Mr. Solich. Can I get a second? Ms. Hanauer Friedman, is there any discussion? This is for the election places. No, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Any other business? I have none. I have no chair's report. Designation of items to be placed on consent agenda are 8, 2A, B, C, D, E, and B2.
Moving on to finance, Chair Hanauer Frieden.
Okay, so we have our monthly budget amendment and transfers report, which is information only. B, our monthly reports from the auditor's office are available online through June, unfortunately. The treasurer's monthly reports are available online through October. Next, we have circuit clerk, approval of an ordinance revising civil fees to be charged by the clerk of the circuit court. Can I get a motion? Van Steernot? Second, Locke. And I don't think Susan is here, and I just can't see her.
Susan advised that she had a family obligation tonight, but she has a very detailed memo in the packet available on the website.
Just wanted to make sure she wasn't hiding back there. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay, next I wanted to draw your attention. This is something new that the Finance Committee leadership requested to have Travis prepare and include in the board's monthly packet. This is just a pretty straightforward budget report that breaks down specifically for the general fund, so you can see by department where spending stands at each given month. So hopefully this will be a helpful resource for everybody on this body moving forward.
Ellie?
Oh, sorry, Chair Locke.
I just want to add in, we don't have any BUAs this month, so we don't have it as an example, but Travis will be able to, when we have a BUA pending before us, give us an even more detailed by department. So let's say Shannon comes to us with a BUA. You're here, I saw you, that's why you're named. Let's say Shannon comes to us with a BUA. We'd have a more detailed what she spent, how it's been spent, and that way we can not say yes or no based on that, but we have more information available to us so that we can make the more informed decisions. So I really like the percentages. Take some time, look through here. It's fun.
Yeah, and feel free to reach out if you have any questions after looking at it. Okay. Oh, sorry, Mr. Wilson, I can't see that. Yeah. Mr. Varney needs to lean back. Mr. Wilson.
Just a couple questions or statements. First of all, thank you for this report. I applaud the Financial Committee for publishing this. I do believe this really is helpful. It's nice to see it this way. And is this pretty much, is our thought that this supplements or replaces the auditor report that's generally not issued on time, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't had updated reports out of the auditor's office for almost 6 months now. So this definitely supplements those non-existent reports.
Okay. Well, I'm glad you're doing this. Thank you. It's very helpful. And then, just due to my lack of knowledge, I just had a couple questions, if that's helpful. And I'm on page 43. And I had a couple questions on page 43, and it's budget item 71, public property, physical plant. The debt of $183,000, that's paid at the end of the year? Is that generally how that works? How does that, it's not really incremental month by month, or just one lump sum at the end of the year?
So Travis is not here this evening. I don't know if Michelle is in a position to answer specific questions like that right now. we don't have.
Okay. Don't,
I mean, Travis can clarify, but my understanding is a lot of those types of things, we just do a whole flurry of transfers at the end of the year. We do them all at once. Otherwise, it's just a lot of time and labor spent throughout the entire year.
okay, thank you. And the same then would be with the county general interim expense. Is that PSST that's paid at the end of the year rather than month by month? $43, general county, item 75, interfund expense. I'm just rounding up, $2.7 million. None has been spent. I guess my assumption that gets spent at the end of the year or one lump sum.
Yeah, again, that's a lot of the transferring that we do at the end of the year when we start charging our own internal departments for costs that go across the county. We just do that all at once.
Okay, thank you. And then one more question. Is this through October or through November? Because I don't see that on the title. I'm assuming I actually don't know.
Ellie, I can speak to that.
Yeah.
When Travis runs this, it's the date and time that he runs it. He doesn't have the ability to go back in time, and so this is as of the date. So he was out ill, so this could have been from our planning budget meeting.
It's probably from Wednesday of last week.
Yeah.
Would be my best.
It's from
guess.
Friday morning.
Oh, Friday morning. Okay. There you go.
So Ellie, maybe just add the date on it. That would be.
We can ask Travis to do that. Yes.
All right, thanks.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay. Moving on. Next, we have 3 resolutions, non-binding ballot questions. I would like for us to discuss the 3 resolutions as a whole. I will just read them all into the record first, and then I don't know if it's technically an omnibus, but no, we need to vote on them separately. But I would like us as a body to discuss them together. So we have resolution requesting the submission of a public question to the electors of Champaign County regarding an increase to sales tax on purchases of goods. We have resolution requesting the submission of a public question to the electors of Champaign County regarding an increase to the county's property tax rate. And we have a resolution requesting the submission of a public question to the electors of Champaign County regarding a reduction in county services. So I guess, can I get a motion? Mr. Farney, second, Van Steernot. And I'd like to open it up for discussion. I do want to note that we do have several department heads here, and thank you very much for coming tonight. And we will open it up to you to join in this discussion if you would like. But let's just start with board members, but if any department heads would like to come up to the mic, then we'll know. So yes, any discussion? I can start. I mean, I think you all have the memo. The county is in a bad financial situation, as we've all discussed many, many times in this meeting space. And the idea behind placing these questions on the ballot and putting them forward to the public is twofold. One is using it as a way to educate the public on the fact that the county is in this situation, and also obviously to solicit the public's opinion and input, so that as we go forward with our budget process this coming year, we have that information to guide us. So, yeah, Mr. Farney.
I would just like to add to that Ellie and I and the county executive, the director of administration, county board chair, we have been meeting weekly for about the last, 5-6 weeks now, starting next year's budget process already, getting kind of our ducks in a row, coming up with questions and things that we want input from department heads and countywide elected officials on, so that we can go to them right after the holidays and start this discussion. We need to start next year's budget process earlier than we ever have before because of the decisions that we're going to have to be making because of the forecast, quite honestly. So by February, we fully anticipate that Ellie and I are going to be having one-on-one meetings with department heads to talk to them and get their input. This is just one of the tools that we're hoping by letting the public have their say on this. It's just one of many things, information gathering for us, for the county executive, so that we can get as much input from people as possible. But we're starting the budget process already. As soon as we passed the budget last month, we were already going. Travis is already working on it. So it's kind of an all-hands-on-deck thing for next year already. So we're going to be, I believe the word that Clerk Ammons used was a robust discussion with the department heads and elected officials. That's what I certainly intend for it to be. We need to talk to the folks that are running departments, running offices, and see, all right, how can we accomplish what we need to in having a balanced budget while limiting the reductions of services, while fulfilling our mission? How do we do that if we don't have additional revenue coming in? Or where can we find expenses that we can cut so that we can allocate it to other places? So I just want this board and the public to know that your administration is working on this already. And this is really, in my years of being affiliated with the county as a department head, we never started talking about things this early. So it's being taken very seriously, and we are open for ideas. Everything has to be on the table. So I hope you'll support putting these questions out there so that we can get some initial input from the public, and hopefully it will help us in deciding what else we need to go to the public for their approval of. Thank you.
Ms. Settles.
I haven't had the opportunity to talk too much because I'm new, so I'm still, filling things out. But I did do a little bit of research on the non-binding referendum questions. And I believe that the primary reason that you pose those questions are to gauge the public, as you said. But in 2024, the board referendum put it on the ballot, and they overwhelmingly defeated it. The voters, they spoke for themselves. So I'm just wondering why we would keep posing the same questions over and over again when they just keep shooting them down. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Esri.
I guess I'm in support of this. I don't know what we're going to get as results, obviously. I guess I can kind of look at it. It doesn't hurt to ask again, because if you just look at the Champaign schools with their building referendum, they asked, got told no, asked what, not being in that district, I believe it was 3 times that they asked, or more, maybe it was more, I don't remember, but they kept asking. Eventually, they changed their plans some, and they eventually convinced enough people that, in part through their changing of their plans and ideas and everything, they've got enough people to pass a property tax increase. Maybe the public has now decided differently. We don't know that. So putting it in front of the public on a non-binding, especially resolute question, I don't see that it hurts anything at all. I don't know if we will get anything meaningful results from it, but would hope that we would. Maybe it'll come out. One of these 3 has a big yes stamp beside it when the numbers are through, and it'll be like, hey, the public's telling us go for this. We shall see.
I would just add also that only one of these 3 questions was on the November 24 ballot. So this is really giving the public options in addition to that and to compare, right? Yeah, Ms. Rogers.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys starting to work on the budget so early. I don't have time to meet every week, so I appreciate that. I guess my question is, once we get the results from the ballot, have you guys decided kind of like what's the plan? Are we going to have more special meetings to kind of discuss the results or come up with plans from the board, or what's the plan after we get the results? And if it's no, have we discussed kind of what we're going to do if the answer is no for all three? I don't know.
At this point, I would throw that question back out at the whole board. What would you all like the plan to be? Obviously, we've been mostly talking about, how we're going to work with each department, but we don't want to make decisions unilaterally for this body here. So if anybody has thoughts on how best to handle results from these questions, I think the good news, right, is the data will be pretty simple to deal with. It's 3 yes or no questions. But yeah, that's what this discussion here is for, Chair Locke.
So something that I mentioned in caucus, but I'll say again now for anybody who wasn't in the Dem caucus, we had originally considered a multiple choice question of these 3 options, which do you prefer? So that we're not getting no, no, no. We had originally thought, which way can we do it? But through advice of our legal counsel, it's much cleaner if we do yes or no, yes or no, yes or no. So it's possible we'll get 3 yeses. It's much more possible we'll get 3 no's, right? But then we look at the strength of the no's. And if we get no's across the board, then yeah, the ball's back in our court. But if we get 1 yes, well, then maybe we have a plan made for us that's the will of the voters. Another benefit that we've not said out loud in this room yet is that just by putting these on the ballot in what would at least, there's primaries and there's contested races for Congress on the Republican side. On the Dem side, there's some contested races. So, and it's a congressional election year. So we expect that there'll be some turnout, more turnout than when it's just municipal elections. This is a way of informing the voters that there's an issue, because as much as this rules our lives, a lot of people don't even know we exist, that this room exists, that this taxing body exists, and they won't know there's a problem unless the wheels fall off, we have no money, and we have to figure it out through service cuts or any other bad thing. So it's a way of educating the public, hey, these are here, and which of these bad choices do you want? We should also consider public forums. Anybody who votes to put this on the ballot tonight should consider, working together to do some public forums so that we can teach the public about it. The public needs to be informed to give us a knowing vote, but we need to know what they think.
Mr. Pugh.
Actually, on that end, I can give you some information because, excuse me, 1 second. I took these questions with me this weekend to Mountain Olive Church, Post 559 for the Legion, and JJ's Fish and Chicken. Got about 33 people to read them and give me some responses. Here's some of the questions I got when they read it. Is a building going to fall down? Did the county run out of money? Does structural deficit mean something like a basement that is leaking? Are you going to be firing sheriffs? Can I still get married? My favorite, don't you get enough of my money? There wasn't many specifics. We don't have a cohesive plan really for this. There was a lot of fear and confusion when they read these. They really and I think the 33 people got 1 yes for 1 question. Everybody else says no, no, no. I do have some questions from my constituents too, but I don't think there's other people I want to talk to, because there's about 7 or 8. I can go into those, or if somebody else needs to talk, I can come back later.
I hate this.
Mr. Wilson.
I just rather, for me personally, just wait for him to finish all the 7 points.
Well, that's it. I had some, let's see. What is the county's current financial condition? Are we $300,000 in debt, or do we have a $17 million surplus?
Are you sharing the
Yes,
questions?
these are the questions, yeah.
Okay,
We
well,
have
go ahead and finish.
There's multiple questions here. Do we have an answer for that one, or
For
what's our current financial condition?
our current financial, is we have a structural deficit of $2 million.
Okay.
I also want to make it clear, we're not here to discuss the financial, like what is the financial situation. We've discussed
I
that
know,
many times. So I understand that the public.
The rest of them are more for the questions.
Right, right. But I think that is part of what we're trying to do, is educate the public here. We have a deficit, a growing deficit, and that is part of the language of the questions.
No, I get that. And the next question is, how much are we going to spend on educating people before they vote in the referenda, and where's that money going to come from?
Okay, just share your questions. I'm not here to answer your.
Oh, so we're not answering these questions at all?
No, please just share what you want to share. It's your time to speak.
What are we going to do with the answers? I think you've answered that. If or when the answers come back as no, does that hurt the idea of doing a future real referendum? In the likely event the majority of answers would be no to all three questions, what would the county board do with that kind of information or lack of information? What specific services need to be cut if needed? What specific personnel positions would be laid off if needed? And I believe I covered, when somebody did ask, does the county executive office support putting these referenda on the ballot? I believe that was a yes, because you've been working with it. So, okay. But any of those questions, if we have answers for, that'd be great.
Yeah, and we can discuss those questions in this body tonight, but I want to make sure everyone has a chance to speak. So I think, Mr. Wilson, if I understood that correctly, you had something to say?
It's going to take us a lot more than 11 weeks to educate these people as to what a structural deficit is, let alone the situation we are in. I know people don't put it right away, but we're going to get no, I think, on all these. And it's going to be wide margins like it was the last time, 2-1.
Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. I think I had the same question, Monique, that you had, so thank you for asking that. And Mr. Pugh, I applaud you for reaching out to your constituents to ask them how they felt about it or what they thought about it. And we did go with the PSST tax referendum last time, and I thought we funded that information campaign. Was it $60,000 or something like that? Or is the county board or the county executive considering a funding level for this campaign also?
Chair Locke.
There's been no discussion of funding because we have no agenda here. There's no right answer. This is finding out the will of the public. Like, would you rather have a sales tax? Would you rather have a property tax? Would you rather have cut services? Before we would put anything to them, if the answer's absolutely not, I do not want to pay more taxes, well, then why bother wasting the money doing that? This is adding questions on to an election that's going to happen, if we would do it. It's adding questions onto the ballot. The ballots are going to be there no matter what. So the election's already happening. The election judges are already being paid. This is just adding that on. We have no agenda. I'm not going to go out there and tell people, hey, you should really vote to raise your property taxes. Hey, you should really vote to. I'm not telling anyone what to do. And whenever this is in the News Gazette, I told the reporter the same thing. We're just finding out the will of the voters, because if the answer is no, we don't want to pay more taxes, why would we waste time and money to push that through. This is just finding out if we have, and just to digress for a moment, we do have a structural deficit. There's $17 million that must sit in the general fund at any time to pay our bills, to keep our credit rating, to be there in case of funding difficulties. That doesn't, just because it's in the bank doesn't mean we can spend it. It's there, we can't spend it. It's not like a personal checking account. We need that there. If we go below a certain number, we're in a world of hurt, financially, professionally, all of it. That's not the same. We do have a structural deficit. The only way we balanced our budget that we all voted for just last month was to move almost $2 million from public safety sales tax to the general fund. But it's not a wishing well. It doesn't exist. We can't do that every year. Then we would be talking, let's tax everybody more. We're not doing that. We're just finding out the will, and it's basically polling costs money, but the election's happening. This is, just view it as a poll of the engaged electorate.
Mr. Wilson.
Thank you. Well, number one, actually, I'm in favor of having this on the ballot. So, the reason I'm in favor of it on the ballot, because there's 3 questions. And the consequence of answering an overwhelming yes to question 3, then I'm assuming we would act on that, but since it's advisory, we don't really have to, right?
Correct. These are advisory questions only. So it's for information. It doesn't bind this board to any action.
Which is the nature of an advisory question. My thought is, I understand what a structural deficit is. And listening to Mr. Pugh's questions about a structural deficit, people are thinking that the building is falling down, or there's defects in the building. Just food for thought. Whatever terminology you use, I can understand it. I fully understand from a financial standpoint what a structural deficit is. Now listening to Mr. Pugh, I'm wondering how would the general public understand structural deficit? You can leave it the words how you want to. I'm just food for thought.
Ms. Vanish-Theranutt.
I would encourage Mr. Wilson to explain what a structural deficit is now, and then we can timestamp the video and send anybody to it and hear the explanation.
Thank you for that encouragement. Are you saying you don't understand what a structural deficit is?
Absolutely not. Enlighten me.
Well, I don't want to overstep finance's role, but that just means it's a planned deficit that's structured into the budget that you're always going to spend more than you take in. That would be the definition of, am I right, Mr. Fartney?
That is correct. Unless we cut things from the budget, we will always be behind.
Any further discussion? Mr. Farney.
Yeah, I also want to say, Ms. Settles, I agree with your questions. And I'll put it out here and put it in the public, and I'll put it on record. Until we cut services and personnel, we're not going to pass a tax increase in this county. It's not until the general public has to stand in line, until it costs $75 to get a birth certificate, $100 to get a marriage license. You call for a sheriff's officer, and instead of taking 7 to 10 minutes, it takes 15 to 18 because they're halfway across the county. That's the reality of the situation. Our school districts face it when they pass referendums, when they go for them, until the buildings are falling apart. I mean, at Unity, they had to close a building, had closed rooms in a building because bat poop was causing health issues. And they had something called coffin gnats coming up through the drains. It was until that started showing up in the public and people knew. So it's until the public is affected by this, nobody wants to pay more taxes. So I agree. We're probably going to, I think we all know the outcome of a lot of these questions. But we need to poll the public and have them say, confirm what many of us on this board might think.
Mr. Sullard.
I agree that, using this as another terminology is this is a poll of the public. It's kind of like taking the public input to them, so they don't have to come here to get to give their opinion. We can take the ballot to them, and they get to register their opinion. We kind of talked about this in caucus, and I think here tonight as well. We're probably going to get 3 no's. I think we had a similar, an informal media did, WCIA or something, and the county said, we don't want to pay more taxes, and we also don't want a reduction in services. Well, that's not a reality that we have in front of us. Something's going to give. This is part of the process. One thing I mentioned in caucus is that sure, it would have been ideal to have these sort of questions ready, knowing we were going to do this in the middle of the summer, so we could have started maybe these town hall sort of things. But we don't. We need it on the ballot now, because if we put it on the general ballot in November, it's too late. Budget's done. So we have to get it what we can on the ballot now for March, do what we can for education between now and then. And like we said, we expect 3 no's, but maybe one is not quite as bad of a no, and that's the one we move toward. It's a little concerning when you bring questions, what is the financial situation of the county, and you can't answer it. You're on the board. You should know. I appreciate the work the Finance Committee, admin, chair have done to get this ready to move forward, and I appreciate that you're already starting the budget process. That's one of the things we talked about back in August when we were having all these hearings was, if we're going to put the Band-Aid on one more time, let's have realistic, tangible goals, let's have a schedule. This is one of those things we talked about. This is putting information in front of us to give us an idea of where the public wants to go with it. So thank you to the Finance Committee, thank you to Michelle, Executive Summers, and Chair Locke to get the ball rolling.
Any further discussion? Do any department heads want to weigh in? Going once. Okay. So we do need to vote on these individually. So, but we've already made the motion, correct? So I'm going to just go through each one, and we'll take, I believe this is just there's no roll call here, right? No. Okay. So all those in favor of resolution requesting the submission of a public question to the electors of Champaign County regarding an increase to sales tax on purchases of goods, all those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. I think motion passes. Resolution requesting the submission of a public question to the electors of Champaign County regarding an increase to the county's property tax rate. All those in favor signify by saying aye. 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 Opposed, same sign. Nay. Motion passes. Resolution requesting the submission of a public question to the electors of Champaign County regarding a reduction in county services. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Okay. Other business, on a related note, we will be having a study session on January 27th, 2026, which is not that far away. And that will be obviously open to the public, and our next opportunity as a board to really focus on questions of budget and options that we have before us that we want to discuss. Do we, how could we raise revenue? How can we make cuts? These are, that is the specific dedicated session for this topic. Yes, Ms. Lakshan.
Is there a time set for that yet that we can announce?
6 p.m.
Thank you.
Okay. I think I should read the consent agenda now before we enter.
Before we cut the
Yeah,
mic.
yeah. So items for placement on consent agenda, we have D1, E2.
E2, 3, and 4 were not unanimous, so they won't go on
Oh,
consent.
I'm sorry. You're right. So just D1. Okay, and then Mr. Fava, did you have a motion?
Yeah, I move that we enter into executive session pursuant to 5 ILCS 120/2C5 to discuss the purchase or lease of real property for the use of the public body. I further move that the following individuals remain present: Director of Administration, Michelle Jett; RPC Chief Executive Officer, Delitzo Sulamoyo; RPC Chief Operating Officer, Tammy Ogden; and Recording Secretary, Megan Robeson.
I second.
Thank you. Okay, we have to do roll call, right? Okay. Megan?
Sexton,
Here.
Sollard, or is that a yes? Sollard,
Yes.
Thors, Vantage Theronot,
Yes.
Wiggs,
Yes.
Wilson,
Yes.
Ares,
Yes.
Cagle,
Yes.
Cowart,
Yes.
Crane,
Yes.
Esri,
Yes.
Farney,
Yes.
Yes.
Hanauer Friedman,
Yes.
Lokshin,
Yes.
Pugh,
Yes.
Rodriguez, Rogers,